4K image from each camera, and then you can stitch those together and basically get a 12K output, which is way too big to do with anything. So you basically use a certain application called Auto Panel Video. That's what I use. And that stitches all those GoPro images together. And we'll talk about this more at the workshop, but once you get it all stitched together, then you can edit it in Premiere. So it's like so much work just to get to the point that everyone else is already at with regular video.
Absolutely. I mean, do you guys have any
so
questions?
Talk about,
okay.
I was going to talk a little bit about kind of like why 360 video. And again, we'll talk about this more at the workshop, but when you guys are working on your promos today, there's two different sides right now to 360 video. There's one which is sort of like Google Street View, which is you use the computer to kind of drag around. And I would say a large portion of the public know 360 video as that. And sometimes people will say, I don't really see the point. Like, why do I want to click and drag around? Well, 360 video started as an immersive media, which immersive means it makes you feel like you're actually there. And so what I tend to create is videos for the Gear VR, which is another Samsung product. And it's you put your phone in here, and you look around, and it's really blurry without the phone in it. But it makes you feel like you're actually there, and that's why the medium is so powerful, because it's the closest you can get to actually experiencing something. The connection of your head looking around it's a whole new level of entertainment and a whole new level of engagement as far as media is concerned. So I don't know if you guys have a headset that you can use to look at your videos that you're creating, or if you'll just be looking at them on a phone. Okay, great.
I just bought one to bring to the class so that we could look at the promo in the Gear VR when they finish.
So I would say that there are two, that's why I say there are two types of 360 video. There's one that's going to be used for social media, mostly called Magic Window, which is using your device kind of like looking around like this. And then there's immersive, which is 360 video in a VR headset. If you're producing some kind of promotion, we've done promotions for, let's say, events, where we did a project for the Museum of Art in North Carolina, and we did a 360 promo that we took to like 3 different events around the area, and we had 5 VR headsets set up in a tent at an event and invited people in to come try it. And they're like, of course I want to try it. And in that headset, we promote an event somewhere else later. It's we've been talking about how it's like taking something and moving it somewhere else. So like we can have them walk around the Museum of Art. Let's say they've never been there. And you can kind of like make them more excited about going to the Museum of Art by bringing a little bit of that experience to them somewhere else where they're already at. So that's one way of looking at it. And what is it that you'll be making a promo for?
The school.
The school. Cool. So I would first think, do I want to make a promo that's immersive or more for social media? That would be the first question I ask, because that would dictate what you do with the video. If you do an immersive video with a 360 camera, you're not going to want to put the camera somewhere that is like, doesn't make that a person wouldn't be, because when they put the headset on, they're going to feel like they're actually there. So if you put the camera, like under a table or up in the corner of a room, let's say, to get like, we want to do like an overhead shot. That doesn't really work in immersive media, because all of a sudden you're like, wait, I'm floating.
Right.
So it kind of doesn't really work. But in 360 video, you can, if it's just for social media on a Magic Window, you can do anything you want, really. So I feel like what I would ask myself is, why 360 video and why not just standard video? And I work with producers from different production companies and TV channels, and they're always asking me, I just don't understand. Why would I do 360 when I can do traditional? And I feel like that's a really good question, and if you can't answer it, then you probably should just shoot it traditional. So 360 video is definitely something that has a very specific niche in media.
And I think that's awesome and great context for what we're looking to do. I think that's the challenge is how are you going to bring light in this promo to the shot you choose for 360 video. And so, I just picked the 15-second clips, right? One's outside, one's in the lobby. I did one in the classroom when I walked in. Hopefully push those out. Just did a little one while you're here. And hopefully they'll figure out how to cut something like that into a promo that makes somebody then want to lean in. So that's the idea. And hopefully we can get enough of these cameras so they can go out and shoot. That's the next step. But hopefully today we at least get used to the workflow and exactly what you're speaking of before your session.
And I'll say one more thing. We'll get into a lot more details at the workshop. One of the things that's interesting about 360 video and 360 video immersive and as far as Magic Window is concerned, is your editing pace is going to be probably twice as slow than it would be if it was a traditional video. Because if you cut, let's say, a promo as fast as you would cut a 360 promo as fast as you would cut a traditional video, no one's ever going to be able to look at anything. Because by the time they move the camera, you've already changed the shot. So sometimes I've worked with producers where they'll watch the edit on their computer and they'll be like, it's not fast enough. The edit is too slow. But that's because they're not actually trying to look around. So when you make your edit, the only way to know whether you made a good edit or not is to export it and look at it how other people will see it, on a phone or in a headset. Otherwise, you're not really going to be able to gauge whether or not you made a good video.
Oh, that's great. I mean, and do you find that people, we talked a little bit about, do you find people narrate? I mean, how do you use any kind of way as you're holding that shot? Do you, what are some tricks that you would look at to just sort of make that experience?
So I would say that the most powerful way in 360 video to guide someone is audio. I can give someone a 360 video experience without audio, and they'll go like this. Cool. If I put audio and headset on them, they'll stay in that experience for as long as the video is. So without audio, it's really not engaging. So I would say that a lot of times I use voiceover and sound effects to cue things. And we'll talk a little bit more about how I do that at the workshop.
That's great. So, I mean, given that, any sort of questions or other ideas coming to your head while we have Derek?
And guys, this is really, has anybody ever heard, seen, touched 360 before today? So really you guys are really introducing yourself to something that we're going to hope that we stitch literally all the things we can to apply this to where things are going, not only for internships, but really for production. So hopefully you guys will be able to kind of ask some questions about the things that you're not really understanding, so we can kind of match the pace of how this stuff, again, is unveiled to you guys. So it is, you guys are actually really being experimented with, because most 2D students or film students aren't even here yet. So, this is
I think there's two sides to the benefit of knowing about this medium. There's the upper level, the high level, above the line kind of side, which is above the line, you're asking yourself, why are we making this film, video, image, experience? Why are we making this? And immersive media, it can't exist without that question. The question is, what do we want someone to feel when they experience this? And immersive media is the best way to make someone feel something. On the below the line side, it's such a new medium that no one knows anything about it or how to use it at all. So if you get skills in this area, it could get you an opportunity because you have a skill that not a lot of other people have.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you so much, Derek. We really appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you on the 20th.
Okay.
Right on. Look forward to it.
Great, guys. And I'm going to try to tie together a couple of things. Derek has really been a good friend to me. He has expressed some interest in some of our content, some of the content that we've specialized in, which is the Buffalo Soldiers that connect to his passion, the National Park Services. So, we're going to, when he has time, we're going to talk a little bit more about trying to connect on taking the 360, the VR experience to some African American military history. Any question?
Is it possible to communicate like a phone? Like speak to one another? I don't know if you understand the question.
You mean communicating in 360?
Yeah.
You mean to the audience?
Yeah. Or like to a phone. I mean like a phone right here, but to the audience.
So to the audience, one of the things that was available is potentially, so I'm doing this class through a Hangout. And just like we were able to bring him in, potentially you could broadcast 360 VR to something. I just broadcast to YouTube, but you can imagine if you have a way that you can interact. So I imagine there's a Hangout or some way you can virtually push 360 video, but it's not really, as far as I'm aware yet, a 360 video collaborative Hangout. I think what you're getting to is in VR that you can create a virtual space. And if you create a virtual space, then we could all be in a virtual classroom looking at things from each of us, or looking at some subject matter in that virtual space. That's the next level of true immersive, right? You all sit here in this, and we're going around